Hello.
See if I can make as many microphone noises as you just made.
And soon.
That's enough. Welcome to Discover Progress, the podcast that used to be about progress wrestling, except one of us is locked in a cage.
Let me out.
Let him out. Let him out. He's struggling.
I found it.
I don't like it when you struggle like that. You're just supposed to sit there nicely. Stay in your cage.
I don't want to.
Why is it you that's in the cage?
I don't know. I was the one who acted first, I guess.
So wherever you're listening to this podcast, you obviously found it somewhere, but if you're wondering where else you can find it basically wherever you get podcasts, as well as allwrestling.com, and we'll get the things out of the way. If you want to follow the Adam Show, that's that guy, which I think he's actually doing.
I'm attempting to do it, but
right
I can't
now,
spell right.
On Instagram, it's @DiscProgress, and if you want to follow the David Show, that is I, on Twitter, also @DiscProgress. Speaking of Twitter, got some big news to announce there, Mr. Adam.
Ooh.
Yeah, I sent out a little tweet. See, Jim Smallman of Progress Wrestling, he said earlier today when we're recording this, he was all like, "Hey, I got like an hour to kill. Ask me some questions."
Ask him anything.
And so I said, "Hey, Jim Smallman, you want to come on my podcast that's called Discover Progress and talk progress wrestling?" And he said no.
No.
He said it in the most polite way possible. I feel he said, "I can't." Something along the lines of, "I can't do podcasts right now, but maybe in the future."
Maybe.
So I'm going to hold him to that. I mean, I know he said maybe in the future, and if I've learned anything about having children, maybe usually means no. When I tell my kids maybe, usually means no.
Unless your daughter's name is Maybe.
So if Big Papa Smallman is telling me maybe, he's probably saying, "No, I'm not coming on your podcast."
Uncle Jim.
But if you know Uncle Jim Smallman, you start tweeting at him. Be like, "Yo, you should go on
this podcast that used to talk about your show."
Podcast that started. Well, actually, it started. Started closer to what we do now, and then we changed names because we're all like, we're going to focus on progress wrestling, specifically old progress wrestling.
We got 12 chapters in. Actually, I have that open. No, I don't.
Yeah, we did well. We did well. That was a good run.
Out of 80 chapters, we did well.
They're at like 90 now. So, but
14 chapters.
So along the way, we decided to switch back to not being so much straight up about progress wrestling.
We?
Yeah, we.
You?
Because one of us has commitment issues, but it's an us.
It's true.
You'll note I said us, and I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, Cage Boy. Anyway. So
despite all that rage,
you're
still just a Jim Smallman in a cage.
I was going to go with Welcome to Discover Progress, or a podcast that used to be about progress wrestling, except one of us is still just a rat in a cage. Because I wanted to tie it into Smashing
Or
Pumpkins.
a Trav in a cage.
Trav in a cage?
Yeah. Face Off.
Oh, okay.
Because
you had...
I have a question.
Yeah,
but
first...
Day.
Oh, I was going to say, but first, the Adam's Question of the Day theme song.
Adam's question of the day.
Okay.
All right. This is a long-form question.
Okay.
See?
Do I need to get like my pen and paper ready to write out
No, you should be okay.
How many words minimum?
193,000.
Because if you've ever read my posts on allwrestling.com, we have a 200-word minimum to post.
Yes.
A lot of times I'm just filling space.
It's a 100. It's a 200-character limit.
Oh, that would be so much easier.
Oh, is it a word?
Limit? So now we're like talking like Twitter world. I can't go over that.
Yeah. Okay. So in 1989, Acclaim Entertainment released the WWF WrestleMania game for the Nintendo Entertainment Series.
System? Nintendo Entertainment System?
The NES.
Yeah.
Yes.
But S stood for system, didn't it? Not series.
I said system.
No, you didn't.
I said the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Series.
Maybe I said series.
Run it back! I was going to try and make up a producer nickname. Run it back, Mark! Run it back.
Is he running it back?
No,
What's
we
going
can't
on?
run it back.
Not
Those
while we're
listening to the
recording.
podcast can run it back and find out that Adam, in fact,
Maybe I
said
did say serious. I don't know.
serious.
I apologize. It's system.
Okay.
How many wrestlers were in that game?
Okay, so this was when?
1989.
89, and it was the WrestleMania one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 12.
Wrong.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
First off, Hulk Hogan,
Yeah.
Andre the Giant,
Yep.
Macho Man Randy Savage, I hope you're counting along, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Bam Bam Bigelow, and the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, okay. Was that the one where you I'm trying to remember if you wrestled through everybody? You started your Hulk Hogan and you worked your way up wrestling through all the guys.
I think so.
Was that also the one that there was the arcade version?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty all right. Well, Adam may have a question. I've got two questions. AKA, you can't look at the screen because it'll be very big on the screen.
All right, I'm coming over here.
Hello.
Hello.
You probably can't see this anyway.
Now I can. Definitely.
Okay, we're going to do a little. Can you name that entrance music? I'm trying to decide which one to go with first. I got two.
Okay.
We'll go with this one first. You'll probably get these right away. But anyway, here's numero uno. Do I pause it there? No, I'll play it out. How about there? Do I pause it there? No, still
No,
nothing?
keep going. Oh, it's one.
Just
James,
say his normal name, please.
James Quinton Havoc.
Run it!
Jimmy Havoc.
Just because he's British doesn't mean he's ooh, time fatigue.
The Esquire the Third.
Although I do believe he was on the latest episode of MLW, and I think he actually maybe said something about sitting back and making some tea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. It's Grizzled Young Vets this week on NXT UK.
And listen to Bret Howard?
Ben Howard.
Ben Howard.
Okay, so that was one.
Okay.
Here is number two.
Now is the time for...
That's Rampage.
It is. There we go. All right.
Rampage.
Went with some
Rampage.
classic early progress. I like that one. All you needed was now is the
Yeah,
time.
that one's quite easier. I don't think I've actually heard. Well, I do have it on my Spotify playlist, so I have heard it, but I don't.
By a little band called Hatebreed.
Hatebreed.
There's the music video for that song, which is what I'd actually open up. It's funny because the Jimmy Havoc one, it's
just him.
yeah, well, it's Progress Wrestling logo in the background. But the Hatebreed one, because I knew the name of the song, I just looked it up. But in the music video, it's a live performance, and I just remember there's a guy who does a front flip off a balcony onto the crowd. Very, very wrestling, but he's not wrestling. It's into the mosh pit. So, anywho,
We have some breakout issues, and this time I don't mean back knee.
no, we'll talk about that when we get to NXT.
Oh, okay.
I have an order of things.
Well, You know what I say about your order?
Yeah, I hope that wasn't important. What you just
That was the question
of the day.
of the day.
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about first. This isn't even it's a few months old now. We're going back. This is fitting. These first two things that I've got listed here because this actually goes back to February. But we just watched it. I made you watch it. I've now seen this thing multiple times.
Yes.
But back in February at OTT Wrestling, so Over the Top Wrestling out of Ireland, they had an event called Homecoming 2. And what ended up actually being the opening match of that show feels like I haven't finished watching it yet, but the first 3 matches, I'm like, wait, what? Anyway, the first match that night was Jordan Devlin versus David Starr.
Yeah.
So I just showed you the opening
montage
video. And I gotta say, it might be one of the best story promo video things that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's like a more professionally put together version of the Eddie versus Mark Andrews one.
Yeah, I want to go back and watch that one because I feel like
that was really good.
It was
too.
done really well too. This one though, yeah, I think it's just the choice of it. So you could actually watch this. I mean, if you Google David Starr, Jordan Devlin, I think that's all I Googled, and it was literally one of the first few that come up. They have the entire match with the video package attached to that as well, or you can just watch the video package. It's worth the video package is 7-8 minutes long. It is worth it, and you'll get pumped and be like, I gotta watch this match. And I can officially say, because I've seen that match now twice in the last 2 weeks,
You should watch this match.
you should watch that match. I've kind of actually seen it 3 times because technically I've watched that one twice. It was also the finals of Super Strong Style 16, which I just watched. But yeah, that video package, if that is a sign, I'm very new to Over the Top, but if that is a sign of the work they put into things, it's unbelievable. Because we were discussing as we were watching this week's NXT, and just kind of like what we want to sort of do with this show.
Yes.
Is more like focus on the stories as opposed to like the beat by beat and like recounting the matches. And which, I mean, there's obviously going to be spots in matches that you need to talk about, right? And that match, Devlin and Starr at OTT's Homecoming 2, there's definitely moments. Jordan Devlin at one point before the match even starts does a moonsault in the crowd. He's like on this, like, there's a second level of, so there's the floor seating, and then there's like a couple steps up is like the actual arena seating. Well, it's not a balcony. It's just where the arena seating would actually start. And so there's like a ledge that he does a moonsault off of. And there's a lot of great stuff in that match. Looks like he kills David Starr a few times. But the package that they put together, and I think I came to realize that, like, I mean, wrestling is great to see all sorts of high spots. Like I do enjoy, I love watching guys like Ricochet and, you know, like guys doing those kind of spots. I also really like, you know, seeing strikers that have legit looking strikes, you know, like Aleister Black or anybody, right?
Yeah.
But what it boils down to is like if they can tell me a story and get me invested, and I mean, there's one thing like a story in the ring, that's great too. That's a good way to, like, if it's a one-off match. But like, whether you look like Gargano and Ciampa and their whole thing, which I think kind of got a little bit derailed at the end just because of the injury, but just telling those long-form stories. And so if OTT is going to be, if this is my introduction to OTT, the bar is set awfully high. So we'll see where we go from there. But so the reason I say like these first 2 things are kind of interestingly linked is the fact that, so that show that I'm watching, currently trying to, you know, a few matches in, is from February, and strangely of this year, and strangely enough, the latest episode of Defy Now. I got to figure out how they work because it just came out. Like literally, what's today? Today we're recording is the 27th. I believe it just came out maybe a week ago now. I think it's every second Thursday they release.
Right.
So, but it was clearly filmed in February.
Right.
So I don't understand how far behind they are, or if it's like they just kind of grab shows here and there, because it was all from the same show. It's not like, oh, this match is from here and this match is from this show, and they're just piecing together. You know, because sometimes the show is like 45 minutes to an hour long. This one's just over 2 hours long. I don't know how they work, but so that's strange. But the reason I wanted to talk about that and why I know that it was February is because Randy Myers, Ravenous Randy as we know him. The Ravenous one.
He's so ravenous.
So ravenous. He held, I believe it was like the Ravenous Randy Valentine's Invitational on this show. And so I was like, that's weird.
Oh, I'm not sure,
Yeah, on Defy Now, the latest episode. I was like, that's a little weird because we're nowhere near Valentine's Day. And so I thought, well, maybe it's just like this random thing he'll explain, whatever. And then like, nope, sure enough, they even say, I think the show was on Valentine's Day or right around there. And yeah, so I just thought that was so strange. But Ravenous Randy, I gotta say, I just get a big dumb smile on my face every time I see him on Defy Now. Like that's where I'm watching. I know he hops around at different promotions as well, but I feel like maybe I could be wrong, but maybe Defy is like his kind of home promotion, the one he's on most regularly. That don't quote me on that. He also could be a part of Elite Canadian Championship Wrestling for all I know. I think a lot of those guys kind of get shared.
ECCW.
They're literally right across the border from each other.
Defy's
out of Seattle, ECCW's out of somewhere in the Vancouver area.
Sudbury.
That's Ontario. Good job. Somewhere in the Vancouver area. I don't think they actually list Vancouver as their home. But I just get this big dumb smile on my face because he's actually the only guy I remember from my first independent wrestling show that I went to. And at the time, I wasn't into wrestling. Like, I had been into wrestling, you know, as a kid, and then in through even, like, a good chunk, if not, well, most of high school, like, basically kind of up until the WCW buyout and fallout sort of deal, because it sort of fell apart for me there. And also, I was graduating and...
Busy.
Yeah. But then a couple of years later, I was working for a music store where, we sold like instruments and we sold lighting and PA stuff. And I happened to be in the section where we're selling lighting and PA, and someone from Stampede Wrestling came in. And now this is not, I think they just got the name. I don't believe there's any hearts involved in it. Maybe now, but at the time there weren't. It was more just like they'd gotten the name. And they were saying, yeah, we're looking for a new lighting setup. And so I'm like, okay, well, what are you looking to do? And they said, well, why don't you come to a show? We got a show happening this weekend or whatever. So I got comp tickets and went. And yeah, it was the first time I'd been to a wrestling show in ages. Like when I was a kid, I remember going WWF. I was going to call it E, but it was F at the time.
Yeah.
Came to Calgary. I grew up just outside Calgary. They came and did like a house show during the Stampede. And Bret Hart rolled up Lex Luger for the win. I remember that. And Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon were having a program.
Oh, yeah.
Must have been around WrestleMania 10, because that was, I believe, when the ladder match was, right? Diesel, I remember, carried Shawn out on his shoulder.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So anyway, that show, and then I think maybe once Stampede Wrestling or something thereabouts came to my town during the rodeo, prairie towns, got them rodeos, came and did a show at my local arena, and I went to that. So it was a good time, but this was like my first like indie show going like, okay, these aren't like, these are guys that maybe are going to do something within the next, in the future. Ravenous Randy still poking around the indies. He's been around for a while, but man, he's just great. And he dropped this one line because he has this, basically it's like an open challenge, and I can't remember. I believe the tag team is called No One Lives. I can't remember their
How dare
names.
you forget them?
Yeah. The great look. Like one of them looks like he's legit out of like a horror movie. Like he looks pretty good. But they kind of start going back and forth and fighting, being like, no, I want to challenge him. No, I want to challenge him. They're fighting. And then Ravenous Randy gets on the mic and he says, guys, hold up. I got an idea. Why don't we make this a no rules, consent filled menage a trois, and then turns into a three-way, a triple threat, essentially with a handicap match as they team up against Randy, but he ends up getting the upper hand, and it becomes quite obvious at one point that he has zero interest in winning this match because he, I believe, I want to say one guy's laying down and his head is kind of like pointed towards Randy's feet, and Randy then like wheelbarrow face busts the other guy. So the two guys end up lying like north-south 69 position. And then he jumps down on the mat and counts to 3 with the referee just because he thinks it's hilarious. Like losing the match, but it was pretty great. So got to figure out anyone from DEFY Wrestling, if you are listening right now. They were kind enough to tell me who does the theme song for their show.
That's nice.
Which is great. Yeah. So tell me how this works. How far in advance are you shooting? Is this always the case? And is Rich Bocchini recording his commentary, in an ISO booth sort of deal afterwards? Yeah, who knows? Anyway, let's move on to the NXT universes. We had You're getting ahead of yourself. I said universes. We're going in order that we watch this stuff.
Oh, are we now?
Yeah, NXT UK.
NXT UK. Some matches.
Some matches happened. Things happened. Okay, on to NXT. We obviously had a big title match, which we were kind of wondering where that would go. And I'm still kind of up in the air with, it was Banks.
Straight into the ground.
Straight into the ground. Well,
that's where it went.
That's where Banks went.
Yeah.
Banks and Walter. Walter with just the clean win, which was fine. Because as we were watching the match, I think we were both kind of thinking some kind of shenanigans were going to happen. And you were like, man, Walter doesn't need the help. And he didn't get the help. So
no, they didn't even come out.
No, and I guess where I'm wondering with this is, okay, so does that put an end to Travis Banks and Walter? If it does, I'm kind of okay with that. I don't mind. I like Travis more in Progress, I think, than in NXT UK so far. But does it put an end to that? And if it does, where are we going from here?
To Cardiff.
To Cardiff eventually. Well, in like 2 months.
2 months. August.
Yeah, August 31st. So still technically over 2 months away.
Yes.
So I guess maybe what I want to ask or point, not ask, but I thought this was interesting because You had told me that David Starr grabbed the WWE United Kingdom Championship from Walter and stomped on it.
Stomped on it, yeah.
At a Progress show.
I don't know if it was a Progress show, but it was at a show.
Yeah, so he won Super Strong Style 16, meaning he gets Walter.
Yeah.
For the Progress belt, which I'm assuming is maybe at the next show. I don't know when that happens, or if it's kind of like whenever he chooses. So maybe they put it off.
He's tried to beat Walter 900,000 times.
Yeah, so that's the interesting story. Going back to that David Starr, Jordan Devlin OTT thing, over the top thing, because they mentioned in that when David Starr first went over to Over the Top, which was sometime last year.
Yeah.
He was saying he'd fought Walter 10 times and he'd lost 10 times. So then there's a series of tag matches that he has with Devlin. Still can't win. So, I mean, that is... I don't know how much they try and carry stories over, like between Progress and Over the Top. Obviously, those 10 matches that he was referring to in Over the Top were not in Over the Top.
Right.
So... they're referencing that somehow, but I don't know if that'll be the story in Progress as, whenever he cashes in or however, that ends up happening. I don't know if that'll be the story or if it will be the story. I think it'll be so much better if it is the story.
Right.
But I don't recall, say, during the Super Strong Style 16 final, them referencing the fact that because Devlin, after, spoiler alert, he beats David Starr in that OTT match.
Right. Well, now I don't need to watch it.
No, you do. He beats David Starr, and gets a title shot against Walter. So they don't reference that, I don't think, at all in the Super Strong Style 16 final about how he's trying to avenge that loss for a shot at Walter. So we'll see. And I can understand sometimes why, if they want to sort of, protect their main guys and be like, yeah, well, that never actually happened.
Yeah.
But then sometimes, that's the thing about wrestling,
it doesn't happen unless it's actually cool and important, and then it does happen.
They choose when they want to reference that. But you had made mention about the stepping on the title thing, being like, oh, how cool would that be if WWE snagged up David Starr and he came over and beat Walter, which would be very interesting. It would have a very much have the feel of the original NWO vibe, because David Starr right now is very much his character is anti-contract, anti-professional. So he wants to be an independent wrestler, which Pete Dunne then sent a tweet at him that said something like, it said anti-contract X against it, right? Anti-professional or whatever X, and then there's a couple things that he's like anti-David Starr check mark.
Yes.
So it's kind of funny, but so we'll see where that goes, and maybe that was in reference. Maybe there's a David Starr Pete Dunne match coming up, which
that would be cool.
Would be so very awesome as well.
Poor Jack Stars, though.
Why?
Well, if David Starr comes, you can't have Jack Stars.
Yeah, but you mean you can't have the jobber?
Yeah.
Jack Stars? That's fair.
Change his name. Jack Stores.
Jack Stores. Jack Storm? No.
Jack Stairs.
There's already a Storm.
Jack Stair.
Jack Stair. But yeah, so back to NXT UK. Walter beats Banks very cleanly, very convincingly in 12, 13 minutes. I think. I don't know what the actual match time was, but so yeah, where are we going with that? Is that done? That seems like it should be done. There's no question as to why there would be a continuation. I don't think there was any
no shenanigans.
There was no going back to Progress, Walter beating Trent Seven to unify the Atlas and the Progress title. Trent Seven had his foot on the ropes.
Yeah.
And the ref missed it. There was none of that sort of stuff, right? With Banks here. So maybe that's done. And it feels like Imperium's got to
do something.
I feel like there's got to be some kind of I'm really enjoying Imperium to this point. I think their promo work is great. I love how they just kind of pass the mic for a couple lines here and there, and they're all very serious. It's great, but they got to be squaring off against someone.
Right.
And so the only team they've really shown any sort of back and forth with at all, if I can remember, has been British Strong Style.
Yes.
So fantasy book yourself here.
All right.
Let's say, that could very well be done. Could be finished with the 6-man tag where Alexander Wolf debuted. But let's say it goes to an 8-man tag match.
Okay.
Some way, somehow. Okay. Who's your fourth guy to join British Strong Style?
Mark Andrews.
And why?
Because Mark and Pete go back a long way.
They do.
And I feel like as the top 4 faces of the WWE currently, I think
NXT
Andrews, Dunn, and Mustache Mountain have more drawing power than any British Strong Style plus anybody else on the roster. Maybe Ligero. But Ligero doesn't make any sense. I guess you could have Travis Banks.
Yeah, so that's my thing. Is like Travis Banks, I feel like, for the most part, it's kind of like I mean, you could, sure, why not? Like, he's had some interaction. He's a face. He's had some interaction with Imperium / Walter. Mark Andrews, I could get behind simply because, like you mentioned, like Mark and Pete do go back. I suppose you brought this one up the other day when we were talking about this same question, though.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked it a little bit.
The unofficial fourth member of British Strong Style?
No, not Dan Maloney.
Oh.
The
Mastiff,
Bomber.
the
Dave
Bomber.
Mastiff. And the argument there is I do believe Bomber Dave and I don't know if both members of Mustache Mountain or one.
Just Trent.
Just Trent, like from the Black Country?
Yeah, Trent.
Because on the first NXT UK takeover, they were actually all wearing the Black Country flag on their gear. So that's why I'm not sure if it's both members of Mustache
Tyler's
Mountain.
from Dudley.
Yeah, but is that in the Black Country?
I don't believe so.
Do you know these things?
I don't believe so. Sometimes
you say things, and I'm like, I don't know if you actually know what you're talking about.
I know he's from Dudley.
Why was he wearing the Black Country flag?
Solidarity.
Yeah, we do know he's from Dudley as well.
Solidarity.
But I'm pretty sure Mustache Mountain's also not a real place. Maybe it is.
You take that back.
All right. I take it back.
It's a real place.
Mark, roll it back.
Roll it back.
Delete it. Okay, so yeah. Either or I'd be okay with. The only thing is, I don't know. I was going to say something about Mark Andrews.
Zaya Brookside got her revenge on Killer Kelly.
Did she?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Whatever.
And then...
Not whatever, but you know.
Gobbert's
that's
coming.
right. Ginny and Jazzy came out and distracted
very
Zaya.
Ineffectively
and
distracted
it didn't work.
Zaya.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
So it was weird. But I guess that's the story right now is Ginny and Jazzy and Zaya.
I guess.
Because I thought for a moment, like we were like, well, is Killer Kelly going to join up with Ginny and Jazzy? But no, that didn't even happen.
No.
So who knows? But I mean, maybe it still happens. They're like, you couldn't even pull it off. Or whatever.
Kelly is clobbered.
Also wanted to
Zaya and then lost.
reference really quickly. This obviously isn't the only time this has happened. But hey, we got the very first match in Progress Wrestling history revisited on NXT UK this week as Noam Dar took on Ligero, or see that's the problem in Progress 1 he was El Ligero, and he was from Mexico City, Mexico.
Now
from
he's from Leeds.
Yeah, so big story obviously being the title picture and Imperium and what's going on there. So we'll see. I mean, so far at this very moment it looks like your prediction of Tony versus Kaylee Ray is the one that's closest possibly to happening of our Cardiff predictions. But, I mean, once again, we've still got 2 months. If they're going to drag that out for 2 months, I feel we'll get the actual match before then.
Yep.
But it may shenanigize itself.
Well, we do know that I believe we don't know for sure, actually, I should say. Next week is Mustache Mountain versus Grizzled Young Veterans. For
who don't like that all that yelling music
at
the Download Festival.
For the NXT UK Tag Team Champions.
And you think Mustache Mountain are going to win?
I think Mustache Mountain might win.
And why do you think they're going to win?
Because I think they're going to set up Imperium versus Mustache Mountain for the belt.
Winner takes all.
Winner takes all.
It'll be a 6-man tag match.
And then Alexander Wolf will win the women's belt off of Kaylee Ray.
Well, that's not what I mean. It's because WWE's booking all these winner take all matches right now. So they're gonna book Imperium versus British Strong Style. If British Strong Style wins, Pete gets the belt.
Yeah.
If Imperium wins, Imperium gets the tag belts.
Yeah.
And Grizzled Young Veterans like, what happened to us?
You know what happened
Soon to be in the mid card.
Oh,
poor Grizzled Young Vets. I like them.
They're great.
Yeah, they are.
They're great.
So let's move on to NXT then.
Now one of us has breakout issues.
Yo, this is one of the best episodes of NXT, I think, in a little bit here, as far as like just straight up in-ring action is concerned.
And it almost
starts and finishes with a bang.
Yeah.
I think, anyway. Of course, yeah.
We had
do I ever have breakout issues.
The first round of the NXT breakout tournament.
Yeah, boy, do I have breakout issues.
We had Angel Garza.
Should have spoiled it for myself.
Versus Joaquin Wild.
And Joaquin Wild was my pick to win.
Your pick to win.
And he lost.
There's a lot of X's on this paper.
Yeah, that's fine. There will be just as many on yours. Trust me.
I'm actually pretty good at picking these, though.
No, you're not. You think you are, but
I'm not bad at it.
You're terrible.
Anyways, so David's effectively out
this one's going to ruin it all.
Effectively out of the bracket.
Because we've both been pretty good at picking
Tournaments. We're back and forth pretty much.
Yeah, and so I feel like I don't know if we've ever had one of our winners go out first round. So this tournament's gonna upset the boat. Like it's all over, man. We're gonna be. I don't even remember who you picked to win.
Jordan Miles, formerly ACH.
Right, he's gonna lose.
It would be very funny if he lost to Boa.
But that match, Joaquin Wilde and what was
Angel.
it? Angel. What was his last name?
Garza.
What a match!
What a match!
Also, I like the part where Angel Garza he starts in full pant tights and then just rips him off mid-match, wearing old ring gear with his old initials, which were probably like that's close enough. Yeah. HG, you could pass it for AG. It's fine.
Yeah. Everyone knows.
Also, hey, he's Humberto Carrillo's cousin.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. Maybe that's why they made him drop the Humberto.
Probably.
They're like, listen, if the plan is to tag him on 205 Live with Humberto, we can't have the Humbertos.
Humberto and
Humberto.
Humberto 1 and Humberto 2.
I mean, I guess they could. They could be the Humbertos and just call them Garza and Carrillo.
Yeah, Carrillo.
But yeah, that was
very dynamic.
Dang.
Both of them are great.
Here's my concern, okay, with this breakout tournament. Yeah, the winner's going to get a title shot, which they're most likely going to lose.
What happens with the rest of them?
I just don't want the rest of them to immediately turn into enhancement talent.
Back they go.
Yeah, like if you're going to take the time to showcase them.
Clearly, you want people to see them.
I mean,
and
obviously,
get
you
used
can't
to them.
all of a sudden just have 8 guys who are like, boom, we're here.
Right.
You don't have that room unless there's major
call-ups
happening. But so I mean, that's one thing. But yeah, I just hate it because like Raul Mendoza, for instance, he showcased really well in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah.
And granted, he still gets to come out and have some really good matches and showcase really well. I just,
doesn't win most of those.
I guess, yeah. And maybe it's just the way wrestling works. But
he beat Riddick Moss.
It's true. Who has found himself he was always at the back of the line, but now he's further at the back of the line now that he lost.
And what?
I'll open the door for you.
Now that he lost Tino Sabatelli.
There you go. Lob the softball, and you're all like,
what?
What? No. Yeah, so, I mean, we'll see. But if this is a sign of the rest of the tournament, I'm on board. I was kind of a little bit hoping, mind you, that would have like really sped the tournament up, but I was like that we get 2 matches.
Right.
And then but at the same point, if we get 1 a week, we've got a month worth of matches for the first round, and like it'll stretch it out a little bit of these slam dunk matches.
Obviously, finals are going to be in Toronto.
You think?
Yeah.
Or I mean, I guess, or to the finals. Yeah. Do we have any matches laid out for Toronto yet?
Yes, but I don't know them because that would be spoilers. But
you do know them.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
Okay,
I've categorically avoided looking up NXT TakeOver Toronto since I heard
Smart guy!
Since they're like potential spoilers for TakeOver.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would make sense. But I wonder if any of those though come from the tournament
due to the recent filming in which.
Now, who do you think the winner goes after? Like,
depends who it is, I imagine.
Yeah, I guess. Because the weird thing is, I was so like when Velveteen Dream won Worlds Collide, I was like.
He's so going after Tomato.
Yeah, and he went after the North American, which was like, when you think about it, like, great, that's fine. But I feel like they shouldn't have made it then like a title shot of your choosing. Because who in their right mind goes, oh, I'm going to choose that title that's not the main title.
Yeah.
Right? The only way I could see that happening is if Velveteen Dream had, say, won a tag title and won the main title and was like, I got to complete the set. I'm going after the North American Championship. Yeah. I could see that, but the fact that I was like, I'm going to go after you, Johnny Gargano. I was like,
you know why? Because he knew Johnny Gargano couldn't cut defend. It in a high stakes situation.
That's fine. But yeah, so I'm curious to see. I feel like they'll go after the North American Championship.
I imagine so. Well, it depends. Mm-hmm. If it's a good guy, I think they'll go after Cole.
What happens? This could be interesting. What happens if you just have like a barn burner of a finals?
Mm-hmm.
Guy wins, and he says, "I want you to be my partner, and we're going after the tag titles."
That would be hilarious.
I was like, "Oh, all right.
Problem solved.
Done. Here we go." Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was a great way to start off the show. We did, I think, technically have 2 title matches on this show. I think It was never actually officially announced on Street Profits, but I mean, whatever.
They said they were going to defend the belts.
Yeah, and then the commentators were like, "Is this a title match?" I don't know. They won by DQ anyway. So
it doesn't matter because Jackson Riker.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Jackson Riker.
For big lummox. He's literally running the tag division right now.
Yeah. The thing is, though, if it was for the belts, why did he do that?
Exactly. Not smart.
I guess it was. They were losing.
Yeah, he pulled him out.
Point.
The pullout was fine.
Yeah.
He didn't need to double axe handle or like Polish hammer him.
Yeah.
And be like, get out of here. Like, just pull him out, have some arguing, whatever, and then,
continue on
distract.
With the match.
Yeah.
Well, because they were busy. Because we had another match after that.
It's true. Yeah, which was Keith Lee.
And
15-second match. And
more importantly,
the world's worst ring gear.
Nikos Rikos from Sparta. New Jersey.
Yeah, his number one thing is his physique, which they covered with basically a garbage bag. I don't understand that ring gear.
It was a very garbage bag.
The only thing that ring gear said was, "I'm getting squashed."
Also, Greece.
Yes, and Opa.
And also had the
Greek
flag on his stomach.
Yeah.
On his physique.
It was weird.
It was very strange.
It was weird. But let's get to the most important thing of this week on NXT TV. The cage match. Yeah. Which, so I think I asked last week, maybe?
Yeah.
Or the week, whenever they announced it, will it rival the last woman standing between Asuka and Nikki Cross? And I don't think it got there.
Oh, no.
Not quite, but man, it was still really good. Like, I don't typically actually enjoy cage matches for the most part.
Right.
I don't really like I like the idea of Hell in a Cell because the idea is you can't get away.
Yeah.
Cage matches, you can win by pinfall or submission, or you can get away.
You can just run away.
Which is, I guess, you could say, and it happened here, is an excellent vehicle for a heel win.
Yeah.
Because Shayna wins, but she wins by
she got
being knocked
out.
unconscious and basically gravity pulling her out of the ring.
Yeah.
So great in that sense. I am 100% okay with that finish. But when the premise of most cage matches is like, I'm going to slowly climb the cage to try and get away from you.
And then the other guy climbs the cage.
Or as we saw in this match, which was the spot of the match, Io Shirai, who could very easily jump down and win, instead does a moonsault off the top of the cage.
Onto Shayna.
And, I mean, it's a couple high spots, because right before that, Candice got involved.
Did a splash on
crossbody onto Jessamine. Was it Jessamine Duke?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this match itself, man, I'm interested to see too, because after the match is done, we have a heel turn.
Spoilers.
Well, I told you who won. So listen. If you got here and you haven't realized that I've spoiled several matches on the way, yeah. I mean, I guess some of those you could be like, I was still planning on watching that.
I hadn't gotten there yet.
Over the Top Wrestling from February, or I mean, DEFY now. I don't know.
Then maybe you should have paused the video and finished watching the match.
From now on, I'll put it in the show notes. We talk about DEFY now, including spoilers. We talk about... So.
Spoilers.
Yeah. We refuse to spoil things that are taped in advance for ourselves, but once they air...
And it's a day away. It's a day past.
Once they air, it's fair game. I mean, you're listening to a podcast where we talk about NXT. We're clearly going to... I'm assuming you've watched this week before you watch that. But most every other thing will have been recorded so far in advance that you could have found spoilers if you really wanted to months ago, apparently.
Yes.
So anyway... Yeah, so the Io Shirai heel turn. Where are we going with this?
I assume Candice versus Io.
Sure, that much makes sense. But you made a very good point when we were watching. Can you count how many faces there are left in the women's division?
Let's see. Mia Yim.
Correct.
Candice LeRae.
Correct.
Tegan Knox.
No.
Aaliyah.
No. She used to be at one point. Blue Pants is coming back. Confirmed.
Blue Pants.
There's a serious lack of faces now.
There's two.
There were already basically a lack of faces. The number of faces you had going into that match could have made a 6-woman tag match against Shayna and her hench ladies.
Bianca Belair is not a face.
She is definitely the closest tweener.
Yes.
Right? Like she can I think play either side of that card.
People cheer for her, but she wrestles very distinctly heel.
Yeah, outside of, I want to say in recent memory where she used her hair over the ropes
to cheat. She wrestles generally pretty clean.
Yeah, and she's not really attacking people either. I don't think. So like she's just that. Hence the tweener. She'll
she's a little too smarmy to be a good guy though.
Yeah, but then you love Keith Lee.
He's smug. He's not smarmy.
He's as smug and smarmy as she is.
He's smugger and smarmier.
Yeah, he literally comes out and says, "Bask in my glory." So, yeah, I mean,
technically, it's not him saying that.
He does it right before he hits his finisher.
The song,
Bask in his ring gear says it. God, man.
The song says
Quit trying to defend Keith Lee to tear Bianca Belair down.
I don't dislike Bianca Belair.
I think you do.
I just dislike her ring
gear. You dislike glitter.
I dislike
glitter. You got
glitter.
a problem with glitter. But anyways, that cage match was great. We'll see. I do believe, Candice and Io will probably be a thing. I'm curious to see if we have some new talent coming in the women's division that'll be faces. Because I can't think of anyone. You brought up Dakota Kai.
Xia Li.
Okay, yeah. I get. Oh, I mean they do. Well, I guess there's Casey and Lacey.
No.
Lacey Lane.
Lacey, yeah, technically. Is Tainara Conchi a good?
Yeah, I guess there's a few, but like none of them are really like. I think she's a face, kind of.
You know who is a face? Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah, we haven't seen her since she was on NXT UK.
Yeah, well,
for one match.
She lost to Rhea, didn't she?
I can't remember. Maybe.
According to Wikipedia, now take that with a grain of salt.
I think she lost to Toni Storm, by the way, is who it was.
Dakota Kai is, in fact, NXT regular.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think she's UK, though.
She also has a torn ACL.
Yeah, so I don't think she's been on UK
She's not
yet.
much of anything for anything.
Yeah, I think she was announced as a member of NXT UK.
She did come out, but it looks like they moved her back to regular.
Maybe. Okay. So, I mean, there are some faces in the women's division. They just haven't, none of them have been, all the ones who have been showcased to any level mainly seem to be heels. But
more importantly,
shall see.
Where the heck is Kavita Devi?
Hard KD?
Where's Hard KD, guys? Come on.
Performance Center.
She should be on the main roster.
Main roster?
Main roster.
All right.
Straight up there. Hard KD.
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of how it works.
Mm-hmm. She's the first female Indian.
Yeah. Say,
professional
you have
wrestler.
that playing to her advantage.
And she also dresses like her namesake.
I don't know.
Bright orange.
Who's
Kraft dinner.
Oh, Kraft cheese. Okay. Okay, real quick before we wrap this up.
We got some semi-predictions to make?
Semi-predictions? Yeah, we got AEW's got Fyter Fest coming up, which I ordered on Fight TV because I had some credits. My curiosity is this. I won't actually be at home and able to watch Fyter Fest when it airs live. I really hope that Fight TV, I believe I can then watch it afterwards since I paid for it, I think. It'd be terrible if that wasn't the case. But we shall see. I used some of my credits for that. So we're going to make a couple quick predictions. These are probably going to be horribly wrong, but let's hear them.
All right. Pre-show. Michael Nakazawa.
Okay.
I won't do it anymore. I was debating whether or not I should keep going. Versus Alex Jabali.
Okay.
Is
that it?
Yeah, that's
I'm going with Nakazawa.
I would as well.
You got to mark that down.
I don't got a pen.
What?
You got all the pens.
Not prepared, son.
I was going to ask you for a pen, and then we just started going.
That was neat what happened there. None of you could see it, though, so... you actually legit did this up. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you just printed it off.
I figured I went to Wikipedia next.
Hey, what do we got next?
Probably not.
By the way, this is
going to... curtain puller?
This is going to count. We're making this count.
All right, since it's... Okay.
Yeah, just as like breakout counts.
Cody versus one Darby Allin.
Oh, man, I'm going to love this match, and I really actually, in recent weeks, have come to really like Darby Allin. But is Cody really going to lose? I don't think so.
You know what?
Cody.
I do.
Did you pick Darby?
I'm picking Darbs.
I mean, it's a great way to like introduce him to the AEW audience and be like, oh, this guy. Like my thing
this guy's for real.
Yeah, with Darby Allin, and I'd said this to you. In my mind, I'd always picture him as just being like a straight up like deathmatch hardcore guy, and maybe he is. But the matches I've watched him, that kid is quick. He's great, and he wears like jean shorts with tights underneath.
Yeah,
it's a weird look. Although Mark Andrews wore the same thing. Jean shorts with tights underneath for the match against Do Not Resuscitate at Super Strong Style 16. Who else? Someone else.
He needed
came
a little extra padding.
Ligero came out in jeans because they were like, "No, this is like a street fight." So it was like they're all wearing jeans.
So silly.
was good.
Next, probably also not the curtain puller. The Elite, Matt, Nick, Kenny versus the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid.
Oh man, let's go with Lucha Bros.
Oh, that's what I picked too.
Yeah, but you got Darby, right?
I do.
Okay.
An unsanctioned match between one Joey Janela versus
John
one
Moxley.
formerly known
It's
as
going to be a
John Moxley.
fantastic mess of a match.
Yes.
John Moxley.
Mm-hmm.
You debut him huge, and then he loses to Joey Janela on the first B card.
Adam Page versus Jimmy Havoc versus Jungle Boy versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
You got to think Adam Page.
Yeah, it's either Page or MJF.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if
And
MJF...
if it's MJF, he's not going.
Who'd you pick?
I pick Page.
Okay, I'm going to pick MJF.
All right, because
He's not going to go over Page.
No, he's going to pin Jungle Boy or Havoc.
Yeah.
It could be Havoc. Who knows?
Jimmy Havoc. I love Jimmy Havoc.
I love Jimmy too.
Okay, we got
it.
Good?
Christopher Daniels
Yep.
versus SEMA. I don't know who SEMA is.
No.
I'm going to go
I
with...
know the name. I'm trying to think.
I do. I recognize the name, but I don't think I've ever seen him wrestle.
So I'm going with SEMA.
Okay.
You went with Daniels?
Sure thing. Bad influence, man. Those apple martinis. Killers. That's a TNA reference.
Well done.
It's way back. One of the only TNA episodes I watched. Yuka Sakazaki. Oh, I said that right. Versus Riho versus Nyla Rose.
Nyla. I think.
Now, do you recognize any of these?
Yeah, I believe they might have all been on Double or Nothing. Yuka. Nyla Rose impressed me the most on Double or Nothing. Did I say All In a minute ago? On Double or Nothing. She was unbelievable.
Okay, I'll go with Riho.
Good for you, ho.
Now, this is another pre-show.
The pre-show is going to open and close the show.
The Best Friends versus SoCal Uncensored versus Private Party. Jose Cassidy and Mark Quinn.
Okay.
You know who the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Seven. Obviously Scorpio Sky and Frankie.
Yeah. I'm going to go with SoCal.
I as well am going with SoCal.
All right.
And
we got one
more.
Oh, man.
Smiley Kylie versus Leva Bates.
Smiley.
Yeah.
She was great, too. She actually impressed me quite a bit
She did.
at Double or Nothing as
Especially with that little segment with the librarian.
The librarian.
And she's like... And then they put her hand down and shush each other. One just horrendous misrepresentation here, though. Where the hell is Orange Cassidy? What the hell?
He probably had the biggest, next to John Moxley, maybe the biggest debut.
Huge pop.
At AEW. But he wasn't even in the match. Just gets in there. Kicks him in the shin. I watched it. It was funny because I watched one match of his, and next thing I know, my YouTube feed is just like Orange Cassidy versus so-and-so. Orange Cassidy versus so. It's just like Orange Cassidy matches everywhere. Like, people must have been searching him up like crazy after that. This guy?
You know what I think would be a really fun match? Now, I don't remember what her name is, but the blow-up doll that Coda fought versus Orange Cassidy. That'll be a very good match.
I thought you were going to go along the lines of something like Orange Cassidy versus like Grado.
No.
Which would be...
That would be funny.
It would be too much.
Too funny.
Too much comedy.
Yeah.
I like putting the comedy against a serious guy or like... I guess the blow-up doll would be way over the top.
It's more... You think Grado would be weird.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, so that will count. Those are going to count.
This will count.
So we in the past we've like done like WWE and NXT and stuff. We're going to do... This is going to be something funny. Everything outside of main roster predictions.
All right. So,
I think. So it'll be kind of hit or miss.
We won't talk about the main roster, but we'll probably still do them.
Yeah,
because nobody cares.
It'll be a little bit hit or miss because I don't know. We'll see how long we carry AEW picks for.
Yeah.
Also, I think it'd be fun to do like progress picks, but the way that like progress works, I try to avoid spoilers a lot. So it's like how long? Because like the show will happen, and then it usually takes them a bit before it gets up onto on the web or anything. So it's kind of like one of those things where
it's hard to pick the card when if you look the card up, you get told who. I
mean, if you follow them, you kind of get to see things.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, so we'll figure it out. The mainstays will be NXT and NXT UK, and AEW with their regularity may make it in there. But that shall do it for this episode. Remember, you can find this podcast wherever you find podcasts, and wherever that may be. Make sure you subscribe, you rate, you review, that kind of stuff. Also, allwrestling.com. You can find us there, as well as plenty other wrestling talk, wrestling jibba jabba by some writers there. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram's The Adam Show. Twitter's The David Show. Both of those are at Disc Progress. If you like talking wrestling, not wrestling, wrestling.
We're not in the wrestling business.
Wrestling! You can do it there with us. So that'll do it. So bye-bye.
Goodbye.